Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a high-level game between, in the bottom right, spawning as our blue Teran player playing for the Shopify Rebellion. It is Beyond. And in the top left as our red Zerg also playing for the Shopify Rebellion, it is Lambo. A Zerg versus Teran between teammates here on Oceanborn as we see Beyond open up with a double SCV scout. Which is probably going to turn into a proxy Rex opener, as Lambo opens up with a 15 hatch, extractor trick 15 hatch, and I guess another drone, and then I think this particular move is called an overpool or something like this, where you get the overlord, and while the overlord is building, you also construct a pool. So you're still in that supply block. You're basically maximizing your drone count for as long as possible while cutting that overlord for a bit longer. It allows you to get a real fast hatchery and also a much quicker spawning pool. This is an extremely safe build against any type of proxy Rexes, which is exactly what we're seeing over here. Lambo is going to miss these three barracks. It's going to miss these three buildings with his first overlord, and the second overlord I don't think is going to quite figure it out either, but because he has this fast pool, life is probably going to be somewhat okay. Takes this gas at this point, and as the pool is nearing completion, and we see that it finished in about 16 seconds from now, we realize that's a solid 10 seconds quicker than what a regular hatch first, pool first does. Despite this still being hatch first, this is not your standard 16 hatch. This was a supply blocked 15 hatch into a supply blocked 15 pool. So a different build order. I believe that Eric was the first player to really start playing this quite a bit. I think Pig made a video about it at some point. And it definitely has gained a fair amount in popularity. So we see a drone pool here coming down, trying to take out this bunker. Now, absolutely key for Lambo here is to lose as little drones as possible, because he is going to hold this. There's no doubt in my mind about that he's going to hold this. The question now is going to be, how easy is he going to hold this? We see 1, 2, 3 drones going down as 2 Marines have fallen already. Queens now popping out soon as the first 4 links are out. I wonder if Lambo is aware of the fact that this is a 3 Rex and not a 2 Rex. Of course, against the 3 Rex you can lose more because the follow-up is much weaker that comes out of the Teran player. Now, I really do believe that this should be a hold. We see a spine crawler going down, so I do think that Lambo looks at this and says, hey, I realize there's too many Marines over here. Comes in with a surround. It's not quite going to catch these Marines, though. Takes out every single SCV. And that in and by itself might be good enough already. We have a transfuse about to be here as well, as both Queens now hit 50 energy exactly. Next 6 links on the way out. 15 drones versus 17 SCVs. There goes the first transfuse. Another drone pool. I think that's a mistake. Lambo indeed pulls the drones back. Cannot afford to lose any more workers, and probably should even be thinking right now of starting to add a few of these bad boys. These last 6 links, I'm not saying they're a mistake, but I think they were a mistake. As Beyond still trying to look for a kill here on the Queen, is not quite gonna get it. We'll trade a couple of Marines out versus those links as he's constructed a low ground command center. And Lambo now at 19 workers versus 19 workers, but Lambo with the big advantage of already having an extra base and having these 2 Queens as well. On top of that, the gas count for Beyond is 0 and will remain 0 for quite a while. As he plays a triple CC out of this, this is going to get scouted though by Lambo, who has an overlord there. It's going to be uber supply block, by the way. 30 supply out of 20. It's going to require 2 overlords to unsupply block himself, as we see in the production tab. Lambo gets the full info. And as a Zerg player here, you can basically say, okay, 3rd CC goes down, probably before any type of gas. What does that mean for me? Well, it means that I can build drones pretty much until the end of time. Drones and Queens are going to be the name of the game. This spine crawler provides some just general safety over here. It's Beyond. Wait a second, wasn't there an overlord over here? Indeed there is. Lambo perhaps a bit too greedy there with the movement. Is going to lose it, and another supply block. Very unfortunate here for the German Zerg player, who is on 27 drones right now and sends out a drone to get his own 3rd hatch going. So despite his natural being much faster, his 3rd is going to be a bit slower than his opponent. As there are still 2 barracks over here. A 3rd one starts right now. Well, technically a 4th one, but as this one is burning down, we're just going to call this the 3rd barracks. And the next 2 barracks that will start will be 4 and 5. despite them technically being barracks 5 and 6. But it makes things very confusing if a building gets killed and we pretend like it's still there. All right, bunker now goes down. Now, this seems silly given the information that we have, but what info does Beyond really have? He's seen link speed and he saw continued mining in gas. So it is technically possible that a roach warren went down in the natural, that the metabolic boost gets cancelled, and that 8 roaches start making their way across the map right now. Beyond is just unaware of it. So although this looks dumb, I think this is a necessity. Now the second bunker perhaps also is a necessity. I don't really like judging people when they're playing a bit safe, especially when they have as little info as Beyond really does. Beyond is completely in the dark here, and he's going to remain in the dark for quite a while. Doesn't have a factory yet, is not going to be capable of building any type of scouting unit in the next, well, minute and a half, 2 minutes. He technically could build a Reaper. The reason why we don't see this is because the limiting factor right now, the limiting resource for Teran is gas. You want to build a factory, you're going to need 100 gas. The moment you build a Reaper, you're delaying your follow-up. So although it might give you some peace of mind, it will just kind of destroy your follow-up timing by a bit. So it's not necessarily something I'd recommend. At this point, perhaps he could, but by the time the Reaper is out and scouts across the map, there's really not much that Beyond can do anymore that he can change in his build. He's already picked a path and he's going to stick with it now. We have 3 Evo chambers here for Lambo. I think this is a mistake. Although he's built all of them right next to each other. Is he going to go triple upgrades? This is something you never see. Because it's bad, I think. I don't actually know if it's bad. It probably is pretty bad, though. Okay, so that if he starts his range, is that like Hydra Ling Bane then, or Roach Ling Bane? I'm not so sure. I'm very curious. I'm very curious how Lambo is going to play all of this out. He's only on 4 gas as well, so it's not like he's drowning in the natural resource here. No, quite the contrary. He's gonna need to get the centrifugal hook, some type of layer tech as well, I'm expecting. So if he wants to get this 3rd upgrade, he needs to invest in perhaps an extra extractor at some point. But for now, he ain't doing that, as Barracks 4 and 5 finishing up their reactors. Beyond now moving across the map with a significant marine force that takes out a bunch of these links that Lambo rallied across the map into his opponent's army. Beyond pushes in and will clear a couple of these creep tumors. Should be capable of being thrown back down here. Lambo wants to force a stim. Ooh. Lambo wants to fight. I don't know about that one. I'm not entirely sure, because ideally Lambo probably would have wanted to keep a slightly higher link count so he can start saturating his fort. Now he's forced into building a whole lot more links. So I guess you do push it back and give yourself some space. I'm just not sure if this was the correct play. It felt like that fight didn't end up going so well here for Lambo, who's on even worker count with his opponents. Not quite what I had expected. Fort base now on the way for Beyond as well. Scans one more time at the same spot. Takes out the final active creep tumor that just had been replaced by them queens. Macro hatch about to finish up. 5th base on the way. The fort base has of course finished. I'm not sure how I managed to misclick that so bad on the minimap, but let's just pretend like I did that correctly. Beyond on pure marine for now. 38 marines, 2 medevacs, as the first 2 mines are on the way. Is there legitimately nothing else here? No, he's 2 factories, so he should be capable of building quite some factory units at this point. No real target fire on Banelinks, as we have a quick pickup. Probably wants to drop again over here, but Lambo's quick enough. And this is what you can do as Teran, right? You just kind of fly over positions, and you say, okay, can I drop here? No. Can I drop in the main, perhaps? Is Lambo already there? And the answer is also no. Maybe the natural, I mean, Spore going up, but not a whole lot of units. If Beyond is quick, perhaps he can snipe a drone or 2 there. At the same time, he's moving across the map with a lot of marines. 53 marines. 3 more barracks here on the way. Creep tumor now gets taken out. He keeps just scanning the same exact area. I don't think Lambo is going to get a whole lot of creep over there. At least not as long as Bian is in charge of these Marines. 6 Overlords on the way as our Zerg player is walking into a significant supply block. 166 supply for Bian. There's a lot of cash in the bank though for Lambo. Quite a few larvae available too. As he adds in 6 more drones to go up to 93. So we're heading now into the pretty much the late stages of the mid game. And the mid game pretty much passed us by in a blur. It happened so fast, yet so slow. I remember like yesterday, and Bian only was 110, 120 supply, but now it's already getting closer and closer to that max. Bian tries something, sees a sport, I was like, meh, perhaps not quite it. These 2 medevacts, of course, occupy technically 3 bases, or are forcing 3 bases to be occupied by Ling Bane. 3-3 on the way here now for Bian, who's up 2 upgrades currently. Carapace +2 not quite done yet. Carapace, or melee +2 also not quite done yet. Don't really think Lambo wants to fight this. Lambo known for his Ultralisk play, so this is kind of what I'm expecting here. We see the Carapace upgrade, we see the Adrenal Glands, and indeed the Ultralisk Cavern. Creep has disappeared from the map at a very high pace. Big Fungal though connects here, and there we go. A couple of these Banelings get the connections with the Marines. That's just really nice play overall. As it feels like this fight for Bian didn't go entirely as he had anticipated or how he'd wanted to go. Perhaps not enough factory unit support. Has a lot of medevacs, a lot of Marines, but he's lacking some of that final M, and that's the mine. Really feel like with a higher mine count, he would have performed much, much better there. Lambo was even eyeing this planetary here, and that tells you something about his position in this game. As he adds in another 20 Banes, Bian sends 2 medevacs towards this top right side, where the 6th base of Lambo is. Who, by the way, is still on 89 workers. Baneling's trying to roll in here, get that quick pickup coming out of Bian. At the same time, the middle party also gets ruined by Lambo. Lambo, the destroyer of fun over here. Nice control against the mine. Dodges that shot. Well, doesn't dodge it. if you're that Link, that's not a real dodge, but a lot of the Links do end up dodging that shot, which is nice for those Links. As we have another little engagement. This perhaps is pushing it a bit too far. At the same time, it's gonna get a bunch of these workers. It's not like Bian is on 85 workers here. Losing 8-9 workers, if you're on 74, is a pretty big deal. Fungal Boy still around, as we see them kind of sprinkled into this army camp. This Ling Bane, oh, that's a miss. Huge miss there on that Fungal. Now in this Ling Bane army camp, we see a couple of infestors just really being sprinkled in for banter. This mine will get taken out. I'm still surprised how low the overall mine count is. We've been on double factories for a while. The production time of the mine is very low. It's 21 seconds. So technically, now unless my math fails me here, you can produce 9 mines every minute and 3 seconds, right? I don't think we've been seeing that. Now we have some constant cycles of mines, and you immediately see that these armies look a lot scarier to fight against for Lambo. He needs to be more careful. This is going to get pushed back. The medevac count is still phenomenal, by the way. That really has risen to sick numbers here at 11. That is enough. That's enough healing for quite a while. That's as much healing as a man can hope for. As we have these Marauders pushing onto creep in combination with the Marines. And yeah, this looks much scarier already than such a naked Marine Marauder force. Just having these mines in the back, and at the same time Lambo sends in a... I'm not even sure if this is a counter-attack. Maybe this is just an actual attack here. Planetary goes down. Lambo's giving up his own base. Will lose a bunch of these drones, but has killed so many of his opponent's workers. This is a really odd game. As in, the army supply for Bian is huge. His army quality isn't very good though. This is still a kind of a basic army. Yes, there are a lot of mines, which is great. Yes, there's a high Marauder count, which is also good. There are no ghosts, there's no liberators, and I'm just gonna clean up these mines right now. And the eco is just absolute balls here for Bian. Let's face it, he's on 3 orbitals. Main has ran out. Natural is running out. Third base, we see a couple of these patches starting to look quite low. 3-4 patches will go down in the next minute and a half. This 4th base is all that Bian has. And at this, like 14 minutes into the game, you probably want to be having a 5th and you want to be considering a 6th or a 7th. Big mine shot once again connects. Still a couple of these bad boys around here on the map. Lambo now is paying more attention to that. Beyond is going to pretty much split off his army, say, hey, I think I can defend your run by while simultaneously pushing you on your side of the map. Lambo is reestablishing his, what is that, his 6th base. Is this planetary now going up? If Beyond moves back too far though and this base dies, it really only requires 20-25 banelings to take it out. Beyond is out of position for a second. That is his eco that goes down the drain there. He's already significantly down in eco. Lambo continues trading with these banelings. He's not getting efficient trades, but Lambo doesn't give a crap about that right now. Usually the Germans love their efficiency, except when it comes to their trains. Anyone who's ever used the Deutsche Bahn will be well aware of that. The thing that's funny, by the way, with the Deutsche Bahn, is that usually when a train doesn't show up, you'll get like a little, you know, an announcer that, oh, this train doesn't show up. The Deutsche Bahn just pretends like the train was there, and it doesn't mention it. It just won't have showed up, and then pretend like it was there on time. It's absolutely insane. But there's a story for another time as this forward base gets taken out over here. At the same time, Lambo loses his 6th, but a 4th for the 6th. That isn't entirely a fair trade. That is definitely favorable here for the Zerg player, because, well, technically these bases aren't really mining for much longer anymore. There's still about, well, what is it, 1,300 minerals over there. There's some minerals in here, but I think total we're working with maybe 2.2k minerals left right now in bases that are mineable for Beyond. Yes, he can float orbitals to new locations, that's possible. But if we compare that to Lambo, Lambo's making 3k a minute. Like, that is significantly better over here. That is significantly better. We have that Umbro on the Infestor's going to connect with all of this. Oh my god. Lambo with a great engagement. We have a quad drop taking out that 6th base once more. Queens can transfuse as there's no real creep. Transfused an extractor here accidentally, I think. Still a little bit of creep where the hatchery once used to be. Lambo does need to be a bit careful because, let's face it, Beyond's army is very large. He has 8 Liberators in the mix, 13 mines and 13 Marauders. Like, that is a complex army to deal with right now. So we see Corruptors being added in. Infestors being sent in burrowed as well, but the Liberators are what truly worries me, and the Liberators are what truly worries Lambo as well. I think that's why we're seeing these Corruptors being added in right now. I wouldn't mind seeing a run-by happening somewhere. I think that would be very helpful, kind of forcing the Teran to push in a bit more aggressively. Another Infestor gets taken out here. We still have 5 orbital commands remaining. Here comes the attack. He sends it in. Mines are getting detonated. Corruptors now here for cleanup duty on aisle 3 and will take out a bunch of these medevacs. And I love that he went for the medevacs first and says, hey, that Liberator, you can kill 4 more Lings if you want to. I'll come back for you in a little bit if I still have to. Because right now Lambo is just sending it absolutely. Medevac count is dwindling rapidly over here. As I think that okay, it's reestablished itself over here in the net to deal some more damage. Queen's moving in position. Corruptors will be sent back as well. Income 2,500 for Lambo against 1k for Beyond, who now has this base again and drops 6, 7 mules perhaps. He's gonna get some good eco from this. Doesn't need a whole lot of gas as he has it in the bank still, and he's not planning on getting any ghost. Beyond says, hey, I've been trading okay without these ghosts. Why would I get them? And I wonder what Lambo is supposed to do against that. Like, a transition into Lurker is not really a realistic thing at this point. A transition into Brute Lord also seems kind of silly in my mind. I'm not entirely sure. There is a very famous game between Stefano and Euthermal that was very similar to this. It's like 3 or 4 years ago, and I think the map, was it called Dreamcatcher? Something like this. It lasted for 25-30 minutes with this exact army comp. And just very high army supply all the time for the Teran player. And it makes it really difficult if Zerg is kind of set on this melee composition, is to keep trading against these high army supplies when there's so many mines, when there are so many Marauders, and now especially with the addition of 9 Liberators. The problem is you can't attack into 9 Liberators with Corruptors because there's Marines and mines underneath. You can't really go in with the Ling Bane, because then the Liberators will just shoot everything down. Like, if you have freaking 9 Libs, if they get 3 or 4 cycles in, they get 4 cycles, that is 36 units that you lose. If those are all Banelings and Lings, like that is really a significant amount. And Ultras are only good if they can touch the opponent's army. So you're gonna need a Fungal as well. It's just so freaking hard to get a good fight here. And I think you need something else, either a different type of unit, but I'm not sure what that is at this point. It feels scary to transition. There are no range upgrades. So going into like adding in some Hydras doesn't seem realistic. Lambo here is wasting a lot of Banes, but for what? There's no objective here anymore, and I think he's forgotten that for a second. Like, he just went into a position without an objective. Maybe the objective was to pull his opponent out of position, and if that's the case, it worked, but then you need to capitalize. Now he's just lost a bunch of Banes into his opponent's natural, and that's not very good. We still have that massive eco deficit here for Bian, who is consistently scanning and does not muling as much as he would love to do. 5th base now being set up as this, well, I was going to say this little drop, but this is a pretty significant drop here. It's going to take care of these Lings of that Ultra. Spores will help out dealing with those medevacs. Army supplies very close here. 15 Corruptors out on the map. That is a high Corruptor count. I don't mind it though. I don't mind it if you can win a fight, if you can trade. If you're constantly just standing and bleeding out units, yeah, then it's not so great. But if you can attack into a position, these Corruptors are going to clear these Libs real fast. They're going to take out a bunch of these medevacs as well. But I'm wondering if perhaps playing with Parasitic Bomb here, adding in a couple of Vipers might have been better. Because they're less supply. And they can do things from a distance, right? You throw a Parasitic Bomb in here from a distance, you don't have to commit to that. And perhaps that's the unit that Lambo was missing, that I hadn't realized until now. And perhaps that Lambo also hasn't realized until now. That I think the Viper would be a very valuable addition into this composition. Here we go. Some type of a surround coming in here. Doesn't quite catch it entirely though. That's the problem. Look at that. You're just running back and then you get the pickup. Now Corruptors will take out a bunch. Oh my god, huge fungal. What are we talking about over here, my friends? Phenomenal play there. That Infestor was so patient. It's gonna get a bunch of these medevacs in the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medevacs I think went down over there. There's only 3, 4 Liberators left. There used to be 9. Back when I was young, you had loads of Libs everywhere. Yes, ay. This is actually mental. This is actually mental. We have 104 army supply versus 108. Oh, fungal. There's no medevacs here. Every fungal is huge. 6 medevacs in production at a time. Oh, huge mine hit there. Taking out a bunch of Lings. As now it's beyond with the superior eco. As Lambo isn't really mining that much. So he was probably AFK there for a second with those drones. Spore once again needs to move over. Beyond just paying a lot of attention to individual units here. Resources lost 43k to 32. Here we go. This is not a planetary. That means that these SCVs are very vulnerable. And Lambo realizes that. Splits off a single Ultra at the same time. Hits a big fungal here. Doesn't have enough to finish this though. And this Ultra also will be forced back home as Bian takes the supply lead. And that is a scary prospect here. If you're the Zerg player, Fungal connects though. Fungal connects, and that means a bunch of these Marines will go down. That's the last of the Ultras. And that is a problem here for our Zerg player. That is a significant problem. Mine doesn't quite get the connection. Corruptors in the sky doing okay. There's no serious anti-air over here. So Link's now trading against Marauders. Link's moving in to take out some of these final SCVs. Oh no, what a game. Corruptors in the sky. Link's on the ground. Oh, Lambo needs to be so careful. It needs to be... Every unit is worth something right now. And Lambo once again takes back the eco lead. We have 5 orbitals. All of them empty of energy. Okay, he just... Never mind. I was like, oh, there's no mules! And he just dropped 6 of them. And that means that Bian just wants to defend this position for a bit. Here comes the first Viper, finally. I think it is a little bit late, though. These Links are running in, and with the Adrenal Glands, deal a lot of damage. We have a double burrow as well on them Links. Nice little play. Neat play for sure. Not quite sure if Bian saw that. these can come back and deal some damage and kind of keep that income a bit lower. Making sure that, hey, these mules, they don't finish their time. This is real nice play out of Lambo. He's building a swarm host that is a misclick or just his brain, like a brain freeze or something like that. Still have some mining on that right side. Have a little bit of, oh, actually, there's 4 patches over here. So right now it's like 5 patches versus 12, 13 patches. As long as this base isn't mining. Oh, Lambo's coming in. Things from the bottom are dead. Then there's no fungal to finish. Okay, there's one more fungal. There's one more fungal. There are no medevacs on the map right now. Legitimately 0 medevacs on the map. And I think this is the final push. This is the only push that Beyond still has, as these links are still going ham. These SCVs are being pulled. They're not going to be capable of doing the job. These links have insane carapace upgrades, of course. They're dealing a lot of damage. Oh, just 2 more links over here would help Lambo so much right now. Medevac still not out. We have 1 fungal available. Links being split off. This game is absolutely bonkers. And every second that these mules are mining is a brilliant second for Beyond. Beyond doesn't realize, but he's out mining his opponent right now. This base is extremely low, by the way, so just a single attack there could end the game. Oh, links, we need to go in here. This mine could become extremely important here for Beyond. If it manages to take all of these links out, that would just be a huge deal overall. Here we go. We have another fight. We have some fungals ready to go. Stim has been used. There are no medevacs. This is a non-medevac army right now. Here come the banes. Here come the fungals. 1, 2, 3. As Lambo is running out of steam here, I think. Is morphing these banes a little bit too close. 24 more links on the way. Do we have any queens? No, there's no transfusability here, as the links have taken out every single SCV on this base. The Ultra doesn't get to go there. 24 more links on the way. Drones being pulled off the line. These Marines are gonna fall. Okay, Marines will end up dying. Drones still being pulled off the line. Corruptors, what can they do? There's 40 more links being sent in right now. This base is so important. It's literally the last patches that Lambo is mining from. He's pulling the boys. There's more boys somewhere else. I just don't know where. And pure Marine is gonna do it. 29 army supply against 16. Without medevacs here, I don't think it even matters. Mules now can land, and yep, this is it. There's nothing that Lambo can do against this. There's nothing. Doesn't have any links. What an absolutely ridiculous game as he sends it in. Drones try to split, but these Marines are just too many. GG gets called as Beyond wins an absolutely insane ending here. Very, very well played. Has built 0 ghost. Lost 324 Marines versus 1,206 links, 55 mines, 25 medevacs. These numbers are ridiculous. Such a basic game in a way. I think one of the mistakes that Lambo made was the lack of that Viper, and perhaps too keen to go into Corruptors, when maybe Vipers would have been better as a tool a bit earlier in the game. I think that was one of those units that really was missing. He loved using those Infestors and used them in a brilliant way, but not having Vipers, I think that really cost him. Holy crap, though. What a freaking sick game. And of course, a shout out to Lambo for sending me 2 games in the past week or so, which both have been extremely good. Like, legitimately extremely good. Fun style that he plays. I also appreciate that he doesn't only send wins. There are some, I'm not going to name any names, but every now and again on Skype I get a replay sent to me. And if it's by a certain person, I know 100% of the time it's a win. And most of the time it's not a very good game either. I think they're just happy that they won. It's like, all right. Lambo actually sending some really freaking sick games. I loved. Yeah, this is really nice. This was sick. I loved it. All right. It's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this game as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much. And bye-bye.